In World of Warcraft Hardcore, players will level themselves completing hundreds of quests on their way to level 60, with some being more memorable than others. The quests that stick in every player's minds are the ones that bring them the closest to death and put all the hours they put into their character on the line. Sometimes players can persevere through difficult quests, but other times they can be far too much to handle, giving some a trip back to the character creation screen. Here's a list of 10 more of the deadliest quests in WoW Classic Hardcore. This list will be in no particular order, and I can't cover every quest in this video, but check out my previous video on the topic if you haven't. With that being said, let's move on to the first entry. The first quest of this video takes us to Silithus, where endgame players find themselves on the final stretch to reach level 60. The quest Hive in the Tower is one of the most difficult quests in the game, even at this high of a level, and might be one of the most soul-crushing ways to go out as you are so close to max level. This is a level 57 quest, part of a short chain available to both factions, and requires the player to go to a ruined village in East Silithus and scale a tower where they can interact with a hive at the top. While it may seem unassuming at first, the knowledge check this quest presents can mean life or death for a majority of classes in the game. The Night Elf spirits in this village, when killed, spawn bugs in their place after they die, with those bugs being just as strong as normal enemies throughout the world. In the tower you must climb, there are 2 spirits at the base, so to start off, you have to essentially fight 2 mobs at once, back to back. While this isn't terrible, it is made worse by the fact that if you walk into the tower and fight them inside, 3 extra bugs will ambush you and attack you with the spirits. This is just an insane amount of enemies to deal with, even at such a high level, and for every class except maybe mages, running is the only option. Luckily, the spirits that are visible before you enter the tower can be pulled out with ranged attacks, so I would recommend this strategy. Additionally, these mobs can be stealth past, although it is somewhat risky. To end off the quest, once you scale the tower, you will be ambushed by 2 more bugs, which aren't a huge issue, and killing them gives you the quest item. Overall, this quest is just a massive knowledge check on how it works, since one small mistake and lack of foresight can easily kill you. This is made worse by the fact that it is such a high level quest and is somewhat obscure, so many players may not even know how to do this quest even if they are experienced. Next up, with more bugs to deal with to the east, we have the quest Pawn Captures Queen in Ungoro Crater. This is a level 54 quest with a few prerequisites that requires you to go deep into a Silithid hive to the south and slay the Garishi Hive Queen. To summon her, you must use a lure which will spawn waves of bugs to come attack you. These waves spawn back to back to back as soon as you kill one, with the first having 2 guards, the second having 3, and the third having 2 with the queen alongside them. This is a lot of fighting with no breaks in between, and is very hard to take down solo for most classes. This is made even worse by the fact that the quest is deep in the back of a cave, so if you do need to run away or kite, you will have very limited space. Luckily, there is a way to cheese this quest by leaving the room as soon as you finish a wave and being out of the aggro radius of the next wave, since they don't aggro directly onto you when they spawn. As long as you watch out for respawns and patrols, this can give you as much time as you need to recover in between waves, and makes the quest much easier. But since not everybody knows about this, people often die on this quest. Continuing with a bit of a lower level quest, we have the final part of In Defense of the King's Lands, a level 17 quest for Alliance players that is located in Loch Modan. This quest is located at the back of a cave in the south of Loch Modan, and is pretty much impossible to solo despite it being a non-elite quest. To complete the quest, you must kill the Trogs Gromug, Nasher, and Brawler, which are all level 16 or 17 and spawn right next to each other, requiring you to fight all 3 at once. The real challenge of this quest is that each of these enemies have very difficult to deal with abilities, and even if you can crowd control one, you still have to deal with 2 more. Gromug has a Bloodlust that he can apply to one of the other Trogs, which can really mess with casters with the attack speed increase. Nasher has the Consume Flesh ability, making him even tankier, and Brawler has a 2-second stun, which is the scariest ability of the 3. Additionally, since you have to fight these enemies at the back of the cave, running and kiting are risky options with respawns. Overall, this quest definitely requires a group, and can still be deadly for 2 people if things go wrong, even in the slightest. Next up in Desolace, we have the quest Ghostoplasm Roundup. That is level 39 and can be completed in the Valley of Bones to the south. This quest can be pretty tricky, and things can snowball out of control rather quickly if you make one small mistake. Before even talking about the quest, the area you completed in is still pretty dangerous, with lots of skeletons densely packed within, and centaur necromancers who can summon more skeletons. So even just clearing the area to complete this quest can be a hassle. The objective of the quest is to gather Ghostoplasm from centaur ghost summoned by a magnet you place on the ground. Ideally, you want to place the magnet near a cleared out area in the center, because when you do, a large group of 5 centaurs will start walking towards it, with a centaur filling the place of another once it is killed. The key to this quest is that the centaur are neutral when they spawn, they have small social aggro radiuses, and they spawn in far away from the magnet and slowly walk towards it. Ideally, you would want to pull these enemies one at a time as they are walking towards the magnet without actually attacking any that are close to the magnet. This will avoid pulling more than one centaur since they are hostile once they reach the magnet, and this makes the quest pretty manageable. One slip up where you are too close to the group of centaurs by the magnet could result with 5 swarming on you at once, which is most likely going to kill you. This is made worse by the curse they apply to you, which increases all damage you receive by 15%. Continuing, we have the quest of Forgotten Memories, located in the Eastern Plaguelands as part of the Tyrian Forge Ring quest chain. This quest is level 57 and is pretty unassuming in its difficulty and catches many players off guard as a surprisingly difficult non-elite quest. To complete it, the player must venture to a graveyard in the southwest area of the zone and click on a grave, in which a group of 4 grave robbers will spawn in to ambush you. These grave robbers hit surprisingly hard, and can very quickly melt your health bar if they catch up to you. If you have never done this quest before and don't see the grave robbers, odds are you will have a pretty high chance of death unless you are very quick to act. Luckily, you only have to kill and loot the main dwarf Mercutio to complete the quest, so that does make it much easier to solo. Additionally, you can kite the enemies on the nearby fence since there is a gap you can jump over, so that does trivialize the quest if you know about it. Overall, this quest is simply a knowledge check, since if you do know how to do it, it's pretty easy, but if you don't, it can easily take you out. Since it is a later game quest, odds are that people will be less familiar with it, so its danger is magnified in that regard. As we reach the halfway point, I just want to thank you all for the support given to this channel recently. I really appreciate your viewership, and please feel free to leave a like for more videos like this, and subscribe if you haven't already, it really helps me out. Anyways, back to the video. Next is the quest Rise Obsidian, located within the Searing Gorge as a level 52 quest for Alliance players. This quest is at the end of a quest chain, and requires the player to kill Latheric the Black and Obsidian, 2 very dangerous elites summoned at an altar deep in the mines of Searing Gorge. These elites are essentially dungeon bosses you fight out in the open world, and are extremely difficult even for elites and require a group of 4 or 5 to take on safely. Latheric spawns first and gives you a bit of time to kill him before Obsidian spawns, and he is the easier of the two with a much smaller HP pool and no abilities to deal with. Obsidian, on the other hand, is extremely scary as he has a massive HP pool of over 16,000, hits extremely hard, and has a 3-second AoE stun and a knockback. This is made even worse by the fact that you are in a cave full of enemies, so running and kiting are extremely risky. Often when players attempt this quest, they underestimate Obsidian and try to take him on with around 3 people, which causes disaster as they won't have the DPS to kill him or the healing to stay alive. Overall, either do this quest with 5 people for safety or just ignore it since it is kind of out of the way, and while the rewards are good, they aren't something to die for. Continuing, we have the quest with probably the highest death toll in the entire game, and that is the Burning Shadows quest for Horde, or technically obtaining the item to start this quest. The Eye of Burning Shadows drops from Gaz Ooze and Skull Rock, a notoriously dangerous cave for low-level Horde players due to many of the mobs having Voidwalkers accompanying them, and the hard-hitting Shadow Bolts of the Apprentices and Gaz Ooze himself. This cave is super dangerous, and to make it worse, players often try to go in here solo at way too low a level when Gaz Ooze is level 14, which often results in players getting 4 shot or less by his Shadow Bolts and dying with ease. Then we have the final part of the Bloodsail Buccaneers quest chain in Stranglethorn Vale. This is a level 45 non-elite quest that requires the player to kill 2 captains and the fleet master on the nearby Bloodsail Buccaneer ships. While the target enemies for this quest are not a struggle to deal with, the real danger is the boats that you have to board and clear to kill them. These boats have a ton of mobs in them who are all pretty close together and have some pretty scary abilities to deal with. Additionally, all of the enemies here will run on low health, and it's pretty easy to pull extra enemies through walls and floors, so it is quite common to be swarmed by a giant group of enemies out of nowhere if you make one small mistake or are not paying attention. Despite it not being elite, I would recommend having at least 3 people for this quest, as things can go wrong really fast on the boats, and they are just very sketchy overall. Now, for the final 2 quests of this video, we have some class quests that really shouldn't be hard, but have an absurdly high amount of people who die to them despite their simplicity. First is the Alliance Poison quest for Rogue, specifically the quest Claven's Tower, requiring you to go to the tower in South Westfall. This quest is pretty simple, requiring you to pickpocket a key and then stealth to the top of a tower where you can sap the boss, loot his chest, then hearth out or leave. The real issue with this quest is the first step, where you need the tower key from pickpocketing the malformed Defias drone. Despite this enemy not being elite, it does an absurd amount of damage for this level, and can 2 or 3 shot most players at an appropriate level. If you attempt this quest at level 20 as soon as you can get it, or before you get Vanish at 22, the chance of your pickpocket being resisted by this enemy and then the drone turning around and deleting your health bar is pretty high. The second quest is also for rogues, but this time it is the Horde lockpicking quest titled Plundering the Plunderers. This quest requires you to raise your lockpicking skill, allowing you to open a chest which spawns Polly, who must be killed to obtain the treasure to complete the quest. Polly, when she spawns in, is a giant level 50 parrot, and the player must use their ECAC quest item on her to make her a small level 18 parrot that is easy to kill. This quest is pretty much just a check to see if you read the quest text, which may seem pretty easy, but in fact is ignored by a lot of people doing this quest, so players often summon Polly without using the quest item or even having picked it up, so they just die to a giant level 50 when the quest should be pretty trivial. And that concludes my list of 10 more of the deadliest quests in Hardcore Classic WoW. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe for more content like this. If there's anything you think deserves to be on the list, let me know in the comments below. If you haven't seen the first part of this video I made, check it out in the description below. Anyways,